Welcome back to the Imaginary Gallery. It's TJ once again. Oh, tonight's topic is regarding insecurities and how the cluster bead or narcissistic or narcopathic or whatever label you want to give them, how these people love to zero in on such perceived insecurities and use it to their advantage. Now, this is partially inspired by some of Sacha Slone's counter manipulation videos, which I was watching a few of, especially the one where she talks about making up an insecurity about yourself and then seeing if the other person later comes back and uses it against you. Well, I was listening and hearing that and thought, you know what? I kind of involuntarily did that and got to see exactly what she's talking about. So I'm here to explore it from a slightly different angle, because I didn't know about these YouTube channels back then. I didn't know about all this stuff at all back then. But I have two real-life examples which I think illustrate this perfectly, because in both cases I wasn't really insecure about the situations. I kind of laughed at it, and that's another subject we bring up, that one of the things with the narcissistic cluster bead creatures is they cannot self-reflect. They cannot laugh at themselves, which I've always laughed at myself. If I mess up or do something stupid, I'll laugh at it, because I know I'm a human being just like anybody else. But these types of people, they just don't do it. If they do something wrong and you point it out, they'll have an excuse. But in my case, it's like, yeah, that was stupid what I just did. Yeah, I'm retarded too. But anyway, the first example is, the deal was I was out of the 11-year relationship with a monster, and at that time, I mean, I've always been in good shape. I mean, I've gone to gyms for at least like 20 years plus, and I've always been in shape. However, there's always been a little in the middle that could have been gone, but after this, like, discard thing, my whole life was turned upside down, so I kind of stopped eating as much as I used to, and noticed the fringe benefit of this was I was like in the best shape I'd ever been in my entire life, because I had all the muscle from weightlifting, but then I also had a really trim little waist, and I thought, wow, that's pretty nice. Well, I guess one good thing came out of this. But when the thing was over, I started like rebelling. I thought, I'm going out to the bars. So I would go to this nightclub, because for years we stayed at home together and didn't go anywhere. So I was figured, well, he's moved on. It's time that I just go have fun. I wasn't thinking I was going to go to a bar and find Mr. Right, because at the bar, forget it. But I just figured, you know what? I'm going. So I would go, and I had some friends there, and they were all like hot young guys that were in nice shape. And this nightclub we went to had this dance floor, but it also had like a stage. It wasn't a stage. It was kind of like a platform that was big enough for like one body all the way across, maybe 6 people, with poles on each side. Well, we used to like go up there together and just work out on the dance floor, and I used to find it fun at that point to like strip off my shirt and take it off, and they had a mirror like right across from the dance floor, and I would periodically glance over at it and see, like, wow, I am really little. Who is that person in that mirror? And it felt kind of nice to think that, wow, I'm in good shape. Well, the other part of this was the nightclub had these cameras around the dance floor, and it filmed everybody on the dance floor and put them on monitors on the screen. Well, the point I was trying to make when I was still around the monster is I would look in the mirror and I'd see this trim figure doing its moves to the music, and then I would look up at the video camera and I'd see the same image, but it looked bigger. And I thought, and I always heard that the camera adds 10 pounds, but I'd never seen it. Well, here it was. So I thought it was just kind of funny, because I knew I wasn't whatever the image on the video thing showed, but I would say stuff to the narco whatever monster and say, and I invented a word. It's based on the word obese, but I added a T to it, like obese. So it's like it's a beast, and it's obese, so it's obese. So I would tell him, just like for fun, like, I looked on the video monitor, I looked obese. Well, I guess because these people cannot understand someone laughing at themselves, he must have thought that that was like an insecurity I had, like I thought I was overweight, even though I know the scale doesn't lie, and at the gym every day I would check it and think, wow, I've never been that low before. So, again, I'm chalking this up that he just can't comprehend that, because he's the one who left and found a young kid who turned out to be a violent criminal who now there's a restraining order between them, and violence and black eyes and whatever else. But the point of that was, before all this, the two of them would show up at that same nightclub that I would go to, and one particular night I was wearing this shirt that I bought from New York City at one of the stores. It was black, it was form-fitting, skin tight, and it had glitter like built into the fabric. Very unusual shirt, never saw another one like it. But one particular night I was wearing that, and the kid criminal he was involved with walked up to me in the hallway and did that thing Sacha Slone talked about, it, where he said, "You look fat in that shirt." And I knew that I was like the thinnest I'd ever been in my entire life, and I thought, and I could just tell he's trying to press a button on a perceived insecurity he thinks I have, even though he evidently doesn't get it that I was talking about the monitor. Well, I knew he wouldn't have heard that from anyone else except Monster, but I just looked at him and was like, I'm the thinnest I've been in the last several years. And I didn't have any kind of, I guess he was looking for me to say, what? Ah! But I didn't, because I knew what he was doing, so I could tell. So later I went to the monster's like, why did you tell him that about, why did he say that about my weight? And then, of course, you know how these narcopathic people are. They want to be on everybody's best side. So he would like, oh, I don't know why he said that. I told him you were very thin. I thought, yeah, right. And after the other lies, you know what, this one was just another one of them, so I just passed the whole thing off as, you know what, these people are retarded. Because it didn't cause any kind of feeling of insecurity, because I knew the facts. I knew what the scale said. I knew what the mirror said, but I knew the video camera was crazy. We don't live in a video camera, but these people don't get that. So that's example one, where somebody tried to take a perceived insecurity and tried to like be evil with it, and all I could do was just laugh. I was like, huh, you think I'm obese? But anyway, the second one was when I was younger. I lived at home, well, with my mommy and daddy, and I happened to notice, if you notice, look, we'll show you, my forehead. It has a ridge right here. It, like, sticks out somewhat, which I know it's there, and I just thought it was kind of strange because other people's foreheads are flat. So when I was, like, a teen, I used to talk to my mother about it, and I would say, look at my forehead. Well, she would say things like, oh dear, it looks like you have a tumor in there. And it's just the way the face is shaped. And I mean, it didn't cause a problem, but I just thought it was kind of interesting. So I was involved with another cluster B monster, and I just brought that up one day in conversation, saying, yeah, when I was a kid, I noticed that I have this forehead. It goes out, and I didn't think there was anything wrong with it. I just thought it was, again, because I can laugh at myself. So I was just like doing that, saying, look at my forehead, I've got a shelf. Huh? And in fact, a few years later, I learned it has a use. When I wear sunglasses, I can actually take them off my eyes if I go into the store, and they can rest on that little ridge, so I think it's pretty nifty. But I guess that when I said that to this other cluster B fool, it must have thought I was like expressing an insecurity, because you know how those people are. They don't want you to know certain people because you might find out their secrets. Well, this one was one of those, and it was someone he didn't want me to talk to. Well, he started in on, he never liked you. And I'd say, really? Why not? Because it was somebody I knew before him way back in the old days. And it's like, he never liked you. He calls you a caveman. And I'd never heard anything like that before. Because all my entire life, no one has ever said anything about that. I just noticed the forehead. But he must have thought that I had like an insecurity about the forehead. And so he was taking it from there. But I was looking at the whole thing like a case study, like, this guy is trying to do whatever they do, and he's failing. Because I laughed at the forehead. I thought it was funny. But he was basically doing what actually the first one did, too, with other subjects, trying to get me, triangulation, I guess, to not want to talk to the other person by picking a perceived insecurity and saying, oh, he called you a cave. Because I didn't know what he meant. I said, what do you mean, caveman? I've never heard anything. And he said, because of your forehead. And it's like, damn, he used that. Like Sacha says, to test him, it was kind of like I involuntarily did it. And it's just sick because my forehead's fine. It's just unusual. But anyway, there you go. Have a great night. Hi there. Could I get $10 on pump number 7? And one of those nifty little razors you got back there? Thank you.